Hey everybody, just going to do a quick little screencast about some of the new features in Gmail. Last tech tip, we introduced the whole idea of the new Gmail, but there were a couple of things I wanted to focus in on this time. Specifically two things. The first of which came up because people were asking me, oh, you mentioned preview pane, but I don't see the little button that's usually here that I pointed out to in my email. I don't see that in my email. So this one's going to be real quick. I just want to show you how to enable preview pane. You got to go to your settings. You have to go to the advanced tab, and in the advanced tab you should see this thing for preview pane, and just click enable and say save changes. Once you do that, your Gmail will reload. I love this little new loading icon. It's and look at the shading and everything. It's very nice. I like it. Anyway, the point is that now you have this preview pane button here. So you could either click the arrow and choose which way you want to preview it, or you could toggle between views by pressing this button. Here's the side pane. You've got the horizontal split over here, which is where which to me, if I were going to go with preview pane, I just feel like this gives me a better view of the emails that I have. I know the side pane is more familiar to a lot of you, coming from Outlook or something like that. But just so you know, that's how you enable that. Great. I'm going to go back to no split and then show you the other thing I want to talk about, which is tasks. If you recall the previous tech tip where I talked about tasks, that was in the old Gmail. I just want to show you some of the new features in the new tasks. So let's just use this email from Google. I had a question for them and they're just following up with me. So, no privacy being violated here. I'll just, don't have to blur anything out for this one. Let's say that this was an email that I wanted to turn into a task. If you recall from a previous tech tip, you can press Shift-T inside an email and turn that into a task. Then your task shows up with a little email icon over here. So if I go and archive this email, where now I only have one email in my inbox, when I click this button, it calls up the email. So it helps me get rid of the clutter in my inbox. And again, I covered this the last time I did tasks, but it's worth repeating. It helps me avoid the clutter in my inbox, and then I can click this whenever I need it. If you click the little edit details icon, the pencil, I think that is, that is where you can change the thing to whatever you want, because it'll automatically make it the subject of your email. So you can change it to Tasky Mick Taskerson, and then say, here's a little details about it. And I don't have more than one list, but you have the ability to make shopping, wish list, work, personal, whatever it is. And then here are the two most important parts of inside this edit details, in my opinion. Of course, add date is really important. So, you want to make it, and then when you sort your list by date, it'll show up. But here's the new thing about new tasks is add subtasks. This is great. Okay, this is where, so it's pretty self-explanatory from the title. You can add mini tasks inside the big task. So you could say Taskatron, Taskinstein, and Taskowitz, right? So this is really helpful for if you have, and I'll give you an example from my own work life. I have these graduation tasks that I help out with the graduation in the junior high. So for my own, so I have an email from my boss saying, here are the things I'd like your help with for graduation. So I Shift-T'd that email, and then inside that task I just wrote all the subtasks that I needed, and when I'm done with all those, I just go, oh, click, that one's done, and then I go back here, and because my thing is set to sort by due date, which you can do here, right? You could say my order, sort by my order, sort by date. You can also delete all completed tasks, even though they're hidden from you anyway, so I never do that. You just go click here and your task is done. If you accidentally clicked it, you can do undo, because you're like, oh, I had all these subtasks that I needed for that. So if that's the case, then you would go into the edit details and then do the subtasks individually there. Just to show you the last thing about tasks here, you do have keyboard shortcuts you can enable inside tasks. I'm not going to bother going through these with you when they're written right here, but just again, I love productivity, as I'm sure you're aware by now, with this being the umpteenth tech tip that I've mentioned productivity in. But just so you know that they're there for you to use. So that's been a little overview of the tasks under the new Gmail. I love these subtasks. They're really great. Just to remind you, the other things that are there, Google Keep is there as well, which we can go into in a later screencast. And you also have the calendar option, which is so great because it lets you go through, you know, your different things, your different days, click on things, add new stuff right inside Gmail without leaving calendar. But of course, we can go into that in a separate screencast as well. Thanks for listening and have a great day.